on, y'all? It's your boy KB, and we're back at it with another video. Today, it's more of a serious one. I don't know if you've seen, but if you have TikTok, then pretty sure that you've seen that no other than Casey Anthony has decided to become a legal advocate. Now, I have more of my opinions on all of this at the end of the video, but today I just wanted to make this video to remind us all of what Casey did for legal reasons. These are all, I'm just stating facts that were in court documents and such. So everything I will be stating is facts. I will be putting in some of my opinions in there, but those are just that, opinions. So don't come suing me, Casey. I'm reading facts and stating opinions, okay? I'm not saying that you did it, but I'm also saying that you did it. I just want to make this video to remind us all of what happened to baby Kaylee. And I was a little hesitant on making this video because I didn't want people thinking that I was jumping on a bandwagon. Because of course all the true crime people, they're making videos about this, and I'm not a true crime channel. I do everything just like vlog style videos. Because I know some of us have forgotten some details in the case. Even while I was researching to make this video, there was things that I forgot, and I was like, oh, for legal reasons, that's my opinion that she did it. But let's go ahead and get into it.
She just admitted to me that she's been trying to find her herself. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
Okay, what is the 3-year-old's name?
Kaylee, C-A-Y-L-E-E, Anthony.
Kaylee Anthony?
Yes.
How long?
Now we're gonna start with a little bit of background. At first I was like, I don't care about Casey's upbringing. I don't even want to speak about it or nothing. But while I was researching, there was some bits and pieces that I wanted to include because if you're wondering why I'm looking down, I have my notes. But there was bits and pieces from her upbringing that I wanted to include that kind of foreshadows some of the things that she did in the future. So Casey Anthony was born on March 19th, 1986. She is originally from Warren, Ohio, but the family later moved to Orlando, Florida. Her parents are George and Cindy Anthony, and of course she has an older brother, Lee. So during Casey's teenage years, when she started becoming a teenager, she started doing this thing where she just started lying about stupid things. Just about lying about anything, even things that it's just like, why are you lying about that? And one of these most prominent lies was her parents were planning her high school graduation, right? They're setting up decorations, they're setting up a party. So the day of the party, they're calling the school and they're like, hey, what's going on? When's the ceremony? We got everybody here and we're wanting to celebrate our daughter's graduation. And they said, Casey's not graduating. She doesn't have enough credits to even be close to graduating. And Casey never mentioned this at all. She told her parents that she was graduating. She let her parents plan this party. Not once did she mention that she was not going to be graduating. Now, playing devil's advocate, I could say, maybe she was scared to tell her parents, but she had to have known that her parents were going to find out eventually. So around 19 years old, Casey became pregnant with Kaylee Anthony. The weird thing is, here's where this lying thing comes in. She did not let her family know that she was pregnant until she was 7 months pregnant. Now Casey at the time, she was really petite, so she said she would just wear baggy clothes and just try to cover up that she was pregnant. But the time came where she was 7 months and she was like, okay, it's getting hard to hide this. Now she actually did tell one of her friends that she was pregnant, but she was telling her friend that she actually wanted to give the baby up for adoption, stating that she just didn't want the responsibility and that she wanted to continue her lifestyle. Now at this time, of course she's young, Casey's going through that party animal phase. She's going to parties, she's drinking, she's doing drugs, she's having fun. Um, and she was just telling her friend that she didn't want to be having a baby along with her while she was doing all that. So anyway, when the time came that she did tell her parents that she was pregnant, there became like a strain in the relationship a little bit, um, especially with her mother, Cindy. I'm assuming, it's because she's so young and she hid this thing from the family for so long. And Casey's living at the house, by the way. This whole time she's living at the Anthony's house with her mom and dad. And I think her older brother lived there too. So after the parents find out that she was pregnant, for some reason they also decided to hide it from her older brother Lee until she was going to the hospital to have the baby. The family decided to keep Casey's pregnancy a secret. Um, I'm not sure why. It was different times back then. Maybe they were embarrassed to have a pregnant teen daughter. But during this time, she gave her parents multiple identities of who Kaylee's father could be, including her then boyfriend at the time, Jesse. But that was later proven to be false with a DNA test. And unfortunately, Kaylee's father is still not known to this day. Um, she even told her mother one time that Kaylee's father had died in a tragic car accident. Why? I don't know. It's just she just felt like it. It's the lying thing again. So Kaylee was born on August 9th, 2005, surrounded by loving family members who loved and accepted her into the family. George and Cindy Anthony were like two extended parents. They loved this baby girl so much. They treated her as like a second daughter. Of course, they're all living in the same house, so they would help out when Casey needed help and things like that. So, flash forwarding a couple years in time, Kaylee is now 2 years old, and in June of 2008, Casey had told her mom and her dad that she was going away for a business trip for Universal Studios and that she was going to take Kaylee with her. And of course, parents were like, okay, have fun and see you later. So, this business trip, you guys will see soon, had lasted for a month. During this month, the parents, Cindy and George Anthony, would call and text Casey, checking up on their daughter. And of course, in conversation, they're like, how's Kaylee? Can we talk to Kaylee? What's Kaylee doing? But during this whole month, Casey always had excuses, saying, oh, she's with the nanny, or the nanny took her to the park. Just a bunch of excuses as to why they could not speak to Kaylee Anthony. So this babysitter that Casey later claimed that Kaylee was always with, she later named as, I'm gonna butcher this name, Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez. That is the name of the babysitter that Casey had claimed that Kaylee was with. So flash forward a month later, in July, George had received a letter in the mail from the impound saying, hey, we have your car. It was on the side of the road, and we have towed it, and it's now impounded, so you need to come and get it. Now, of course, George is like, what? Because this wasn't like a car that he was using. This was a car he had lent Casey and Kaylee to go on their business trip. Casey had never once mentioned anything about this car being impounded or leaving it on the side of the road somewhere, so of course he was very confused. But nonetheless, 2 days later, on July 15th, George Anthony goes to the pound to go and pick up his car. So, when he gets there, the working attendant that was there at the time is like, hey man, I'm just letting you know there's like a very bad smell coming from this car. And so George is like, okay. So they go over to the car and the smell hits them like a ton of bricks. So they go over there and they open the trunk, and that is where the smell just hits them right in the face. whatever this bad smell is coming from the trunk. Now, it's important to note here that George was a prior homicide detective. He's worked with um, deceased bodies and things of that nature. So when they get there, the worker says it smells like a dead body in this car. So George has a look in the car after he closes the trunk, and he sees that Kaylee's car seat is still in the back with a couple of toys, and in the front seat, Casey has like this purse bag thing. And he finds this strange because how are Casey and Kaylee getting around without these things, especially the car? George takes the car home. He parks the car and he goes and gets Cindy, his wife, and he's like, "Cindy, come check this out." Cindy and George open up the trunk, and of course the smell is still very pungent. They see the trash bag in there, and they just assume it as maybe something's rotten, and it's been sitting out in the hot Florida weather for a while, so maybe that's where the smell is coming from. Now I just want to get sidetracked here for a moment, and I don't know if you guys have. I hope you haven't smelled the deceased body, and I really hope you haven't. I hope you don't have to. But it is what the most smells that you cannot. Once you smell it, like you can't mistake it for anything else. It doesn't smell like a raccoon got trapped in your walls and died, and now it's rotting. It's one of the most pungent smells out there. And like I said, George was a former homicide detective. So in my opinion, there's no way he didn't know what the smell was. But anyway, they see this trash bag there and they just toss it, assuming it's just some sort of rotten food or something. So Cindy goes and she Febrezes the car and she takes out Kaylee's backpack from the trunk and a couple of Kaylee's toys. One of Kaylee's favorite dolls was in the car. And Cindy states that it was like a soft doll, so the smell was stuck to it, and that she just Febrezed it down and took like a wipe and was wiping it down. At this point, both the parents are confused. They're like, "Where's Casey? Where's Kaylee? Why was this car left on the side of the road? Why didn't Casey tell us about this?" They're calling Casey, they're texting Casey. Casey isn't answering the phone. So since Casey isn't answering, both the parents are calling anywhere, trying to figure out where Casey is. They end up getting a hold of a friend who states that Casey's staying with her boyfriend down in Tampa, Florida, which was about an hour from where they were. So the parents hopped in their car, not the car that Casey was driving, but another car, and drove about almost 2 hours down to Tampa to go and see what's going on with Casey. So the parents finally arrive to Casey's now boyfriend's Tony's place. They open the door, and Casey and her boyfriend are just stoned out of their mind. They're in like a vegetative state watching TV. But baby Kaylee is nowhere to be found. So they pick up Casey and they drive her all the way back to the Anthony house. And that is where Casey Anthony states that she has not seen her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee Marie Anthony, since she left home to go on that business trip, which at this point was 31 days ago. Jump scare warning, I know. It's future Anthony Caleb here. I'm missing like this whole clip that I recorded after just what you've seen. So I promise you won't have to look at this terrible quality for long. I just want to put in what that whole clip was. So when they get back to the Anthony house, Casey Anthony claims that on June 15th, the day that she went to go on that business trip, she was going to go to work, so she dropped Kaylee off at the nanny's house. She says that when she went to go and pick up Kaylee, that the nanny just didn't give her back. So then on That day, which is July 15th, exactly a month after Kaylee has gone missing, Cindy Anthony, the mom, is actually the one who made a plethora of phone calls. In this first call to the police, she calls the police and she says that her car has been stolen and that Kaylee is the one who stole it. And that her second call, she reports Kaylee is missing. And in this third call, this is where she says that Kaylee Anthony has been abducted by her nanny.
To the store. I need to find her.
Your daughter admitted that the baby is where?
But the babysitter took her months ago. My daughter's been looking for her. I told you my daughter was missing for a month. I just found her today, but I can't find my granddaughter. And she just admitted to me that she's been trying to find her herself. There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
Okay, what is the 3-year-old's name?
Kaylee, Caylee, Anthony.
Kaylee Anthony?
Yes.
How long has she been missing for?
I have not seen her since the 7th of June.
Is your daughter there?
Yes.
Can I speak with her?
She's downstairs. They want to talk to you. Answer the question. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you tell me what's going on a little bit?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell me a little bit what's going on?
My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
And you know who has her?
I know who has her. I've tried to contact her. I actually received a phone call today, now from a number that is no longer in service. I did get to speak to my daughter for about a minute.
Who has her? Do you have a name?
Her name is Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez. She's been my nanny for about a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Why are you calling now? Why didn't you call 31 days ago?
I've been looking for her and have gone through other resources to try to find her, which was stupid. I think the officers are here.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I just found it strange, like, when she said, I don't have anything to tell them. Like, bro, your daughter's missing. I don't know. You guys can have your own opinions on that. So the police get to the Anthony house and they just notice, like, right off the bat how nonchalant Casey Anthony is. Her mother, on the other hand, is frantic. She's freaking out. She's trying to explain to the officers what happened. And Casey's is there and she just seems like kind of irritated at the fact that they're asking her questions. And so, anyways, they bring Casey Anthony to into custody to question her. At this point in time, she's being questioned as a witness. She's not a suspect yet. In police custody, Casey Anthony states, like I said, she went to work, and when she went back from work, she went and knocked on the door, and the nanny didn't answer. And then after she didn't answer, she states that she called the nanny, and the phone seemed disconnected because it didn't go through. And instead of doing what I think a normal parent would in that situation, like, I don't know, banging on the window, freaking banging on the door, calling the police, saying, there's a lady as my baby, she's not letting me in to get her. She's just like, And like I said, she just goes and stays at her boyfriend's house for the night. And Casey did not tell anybody that Kaylee was missing. I'm sure her boyfriend noticed, but, well, actually, she did. She told two people. She told her two coworkers. She told Jeff, who she states she met Zenaida from, and then another coworker. Which, why you're telling your coworkers instead of the authorities, I don't know. But as she stated in the 911 call, and she also states in the interrogation that she says she didn't call the police because she was going on about it her own way, that she didn't want this to be publicized for people to think that she was a bad mom. And she also said that she was scared of what the nanny might do to Kaylee if she turned on the news and saw that Casey was after her, trying to get her. I think that is basically what that clip was, and that was gone. If the story doesn't make sense, I'm sure I'll pop back in here and, like, explain more. I've been researching this, so of course it's all over my feed. And oh my god, why is my hand so bright? Anyway, it's all over my feed, and I saw this clip that I actually didn't see while I was researching. So at the end of the video, I'm going to include it. Uh, I'm sure if you're watching this, you know where this case goes and what happened to Kaylee Anthony. But just for those who don't, I'm just going to say that it's a phone call between Cindy and Casey Anthony when Casey discovers what happened to Kaylee. But, yeah, back to the good quality now. I'll pop in if I need to. Point in time, the police aren't buying her story. I mean, at this point, do you guys? The police ask her straight up, did you do something to Kaylee? Did something happen? Where is an accident? Did you accidentally leave her somewhere? And Casey says, no, sir. I didn't do anything to my daughter. So now, of course, they have to go investigate Zanny. So they go to the address that Casey had given them, and so the police get there and they knock on the apartment door and there's no answer. So they go to the landlord and they're asking about Zanny the nanny and Kaylee and Casey, and the landlord states that nobody has lived in that apartment for 5 months. In fact, he also states that nobody named Zenaida Gonzalez ever lived there. So the police are absolutely stunned, and they're confused as to why Casey would give a fake address to the supposed Zanny person. The next day, Casey takes the officers to Universal Studios to show them her office. Didn't really find much while doing my research as to why she was doing this. I don't know, maybe the police just needed more evidence to prove that she was at work. Get to the park. They walk about 25 minutes all the way to the back. They go into this office building, and Casey is waving at people and smiling and saying, hey, like, how you doing? To her coworkers, right? Now, of course, Casey's leading the way through all this. She's zigzagging and seemingly leading them nowhere, to where eventually they reach a dead end, where Casey Anthony turns around to the officers and kind of laughs and is like, I don't work here. I was fired 2 years ago. So at this point in time, Casey has taken them to Universal Studios, was basically leading them nowhere. She knew that she didn't work there. And a question I had, and some of you might have had, was these coworkers, or these people that worked there, they were just letting her walk around, letting this lady walk around. But I later just came to the conclusion, I mean, this lady's walking around with police behind her. So they probably just were like, well, the police are here, so maybe she's supposed to be here. I don't know. Maybe they just left it at that. They saw police, they saw her, they didn't question it. Now, this, of course, demolishes her story. She said that she took Kaylee to Zanny's because she was at work. She went to Universal Studios. Now, she doesn't work here, so that completely crumbles her story. So right there on the spot, police arrest Casey Anthony for child neglect, making false statements, and obstructing an investigation. Instead of taking her right to the station, they actually take her to this conference room that was there at Universal Studios, and they begin an interrogation there.
Where we are right now is in a position that doesn't look very good for you. Because obviously, I know, and you know, that everything you told me is a lie, correct?
Not everything that I've told you.
Pretty much everything that you've told me, including where Kaylee is right now.
That I don't know where she is.
Sure you do. And here's,
absolutely
listen,
do not know where she is.
Let me explain something. Looking at you, I know that everything that you've told me is a lie. I am very confident, just by having talked to you this short period of time, that you know where she is.
I legitimately have not seen my daughter in 5 weeks. I didn't let anything happen to her, except I trusted her with somebody that had been taking care of her, that had been taking good care of her. Someone that she was comfortable with, that I was comfortable with.
What about Jeff? You said Jeff worked here until about 2 months ago?
No, he hasn't worked here for quite a while.
10 months? How long?
It's been at least 10 months.
Okay. He got fired in 2002. He hasn't been an employee here since 2002.
We've put a lot more together than I think you realize we put together. My question to you is, we're in this office because our purpose in coming here was to do what?
I'm trying to think of places where I know she's been.
You're not answering my question. Do you want us to help?
Yes,
you want to help us find your daughter?
I do want you to
Well,
help.
a good starting point would be to answer the questions, okay? If I say to you, we're here because, and then you just ignore that like I never asked it and go off in some other direction, is that answering the question?
No.
Okay. Well, let's go through this again. We're here because.
Because I lied, because I brought you up here, and honestly I was reaching for
No, stop
another
right
avenue.
here. I want you to tell me how lying to us is going to help us find your daughter.
It's not going to.
Well, then if the main thing you want to do is find your daughter, and you don't think lying to us is going to help us find her, why would you do that?
Because I'm scared, and I know I'm running out of options. It's been a month.
What are you scared of?
I'm scared of not seeing my daughter ever again.
I'm a parent too. I would have been beside myself.
I have been.
I would have called the police immediately, and that's the part that I just don't understand. Well,
I didn't know
we've got so
what
many
to do.
resources out there that we could help on day one.
You didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do. At that point, I'm thinking, okay, they haven't been gone that long. Maybe I can find them. Maybe I can track them down.
We're not stupid, okay? And what you're doing right now is you're treating us like we're stupid. Everything that's coming out of your mouth is a lie. Everything. Either you gave Kaylee to someone and you don't want anyone to find out because you think you're a bad mom, or something happened to Kaylee and Kaylee's buried somewhere or in a trash can somewhere, and you had something to do with it. Either way, right now, it's not a very pretty picture to be painting. You're painting yourself as a very bad person. It needs to end.
The truthful thing
This
is that I
needs to
have not
end.
seen my daughter. The last time that I saw her was on the 9th of June.
Remember we had those two people that we were talking about, the person who had an accident and a person who's just a cold-blooded, callous monster? That's telling me that you are the second person, this cold-blooded, callous monster who doesn't care and doesn't want to help because she's afraid that something so heinous happened that everyone's going to look at her and say, she's a monster, she deserves to go away, she deserves to never see the light of day, this bad thing should happen to her. I don't want to believe that right now, but you're going to give me no choice. Tell us what happened to Kaylee. Tell us what happened to
I
Kaylee.
dropped off Kaylee. And that's the last time that I've seen her. I dropped her
Where
off.
did you drop her off?
I dropped her off at that apartment.
No, you didn't.
That's exactly
No,
where I
you
dropped
didn't.
her off.
Did you just think that one day she's just going to show up at your house?
No, I sat around yesterday trying to figure out what to do. I'm glad that I ended up seeing my mom, that all of that stuff happened. It happened for a reason because
You're
it was
glad
past
you
due.
saw your mom. You could have saw your mom 5 weeks ago and said, Mom, I don't know
I
where.
saw my mom's reaction right off the bat, and it would have been the same from the get-go.
So wait a minute. You're more afraid of your mom's reaction than you are if you ever see your daughter again?
You know, I'm absolutely petrified. Absolutely petrified. I know my mom will never forgive me. I'm never going to forgive myself.
Is it that there's some other thing more important in your life right now that you just weren't really focused on what you were saying when you told us? So you kind of just accidentally told us you had an office here and we needed to be here? Or did you purposely mislead us? Which of those two is it?
I purposely misled
Okay, so you purposely misled us. This was all an attempt to help find your daughter, right? That makes sense to you, correct?
in a backwards sort of way, yes.
In a backwards sort
I'm
of
coming
way.
back to places that are familiar to me, that I know are familiar to her. Familiar situations that
What did
maybe,
you think?
just maybe
How old is she?
would help. She's almost 3.
She's almost 3. What do you think, she's going to take a cab here? I mean,
I know
how did
she's
you think
not.
she's going to get here?
Because she's with someone else.
She's with someone else who's hid her from you for 5 weeks.
Yes.
Who has hid your daughter from you for 5 weeks. Okay? Bring her to the building that you used to work at.
I don't know what else to do anymore. If I knew where she was, if something
Well, let me
would have
ask you
happened,
this.
I would have admitted that a long time ago.
Do you believe thinking up more lies to tell us will help us?
She's with someone that I absolutely do not trust, and that I'm absolutely scared that
That you don't trust yet was babysitting your daughter for a year.
I don't trust her now because of what happened.
Who did you call first? Who did you go to for help first to help try to find her?
No one.
Oh, no, okay. All right. Okay.
Now, of course, by this time, the police officers find out that Zenaida Gonzalez doesn't exist at all. Well, at least in Casey Anthony's world. See, Zanny the nanny actually did exist, and she actually was a babysitter. But when police talk to her, she states that she's never heard of Casey or Kaylee Anthony, that Kaylee was never one of her clients. And She spoke to a couple of clients of the babysitter, and they all stated that she was a great, wonderful lady. No records or evidence showed that Zanny the nanny knew either of these girls. And of course, they spoke to Casey's friends asking around if they know about this nanny lady. And her friends state that they never knew Kaylee even had a nanny, that Casey was always with Kaylee. Wherever Casey went, there Kaylee was. She never just left her somewhere, and if she did leave her, she left her with the grandparents, George and Cindy. Now, Casey Anthony, this lying thing, she goes so deep into it that she made like this whole backstory about Zenaida, like where she came from and her parents and just things like that. A whole fake story for a fake persona that she had created. Now, of course, Zanny being a real person, maybe she just saw this in like a newspaper article somewhere, or maybe at some point she was looking for a nanny and saw that name. So when the police asked, she just came with that name up on the spot. So at this point in time, police take her into custody, and in custody, this is where she calls her mother Cindy. But not to ask questions like, do they know where Kaylee is? Is Kaylee okay? Is there any progress in the investigation? Just listen for yourself.
Hey, sweetie.
Oh, I just saw your nice little cameo on TV.
Which one?
What do you mean, which one?
Which one? I did 4 different ones, and I don't know. I haven't seen them all. I've only seen 1 or 2 so far.
You don't know what my involvement is and stuff?
Casey.
Mom.
What?
No.
I don't know what your involvement is, sweetheart. You're not telling me where she's at.
Because I don't f***ing know where she's at. Are you kidding me?
Casey, don't waste your call to scream and holler at me.
Waste my call sitting in the jail?
Whose fault is you sitting in the jail? Are you blaming me that you're sitting in the jail?
Not
Blame
my
yourself
fault.
for telling lies. You mean it's not your fault? What do you mean it's not your fault, sweetheart? If you'd have told them the truth and not lied about everything, they wouldn't...
Do me a favor, just tell me what Tony's number is. I don't want to talk to you right now.
I don't have his number.
We'll get it from Lee because I know Lee's at the house. Get Tony's number for me.
Hey,
Hey, can you give me Tony's number?
I can do that. I don't know what real good it's going to do at this point.
Well, I'd like to talk to him anyway.
Okay.
Because I called to talk to my mother, and it's f***ing waste. Oh, by the way, I don't want any of you coming up here when I have my first hearing for bond and everything else. Like, don't even waste your time coming up here.
You're making it real tough for anybody to want to try to... I'm not going around and around with you. That's pretty pointless. Christina would love to talk to you because she thinks that you will tell her what's going on. Frankly, we're going to find out. Everything
I have
she's
no
telling
clue
them
where
is a
Kaylee
lie.
is. If I knew where Kaylee was, do you think any of this would be happening? No.
A couple minutes with us, so I'm not going to let you completely waste it. Here's Christina. She thinks she can get through.
No, I want Tony's number. I'm not talking to anybody else.
Hello?
Hi, I'm glad everybody's at my house. Do me a favor, get my brother back because I need Tony's number.
Does Tony have anything to do with Kaylee?
No, nothing.
Okay, so why do you want to talk to Tony?
He's my boyfriend, and I want to actually try to sit and talk to him because I didn't get a chance to talk to him earlier because I got arrested on whim today. I just want to talk to Tony and get a little bit of...
Casey, you have to tell me if you know anything about Kaylee.
Sweetheart,
if
if
anything happens with Kaylee, Casey, I'll die. You understand? I'll die. If anything happens to that baby.
Oh my god, calling you guys? Waste. Huge waste.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I just find it strange that the first phone call you make is being angry at your mother for a cameo that she did on TV. Not even asking anything about your daughter, about the investigation, where she is, anything like that. I don't know, it might just be me though. So the next day, Casey Anthony appears in court where she was denied bail, which meant for the entirety of her trial, she had to stay in police custody. 9 days into Casey being in police custody, she meets with her parents, and here's another clip. It's them. It's like almost like a Zoom call.
T-shirt. I didn't get a chance to ask him, other things
Kaylee's
besides.
picture's on the back.
Is it? Can Dad
Yes.
show me? The shirt?
Yeah, turn around so she can see. It's the Never Lose Hope Foundation. Do you see it?
I can see
Your
part
picture?
of it, yeah.
Have you seen me? And then it has the information on how to contact.
Okay.
Casey, you don't realize that the whole United States is looking for our Kaylee.
I know that, Mom.
Her cover's going to be on People magazine in a few days.
Okay.
Everybody is looking for her.
Good.
Everybody is looking for her. Are we going to be able to find her, do you think?
I hope we can, Mom. Now, I didn't get a chance to ask Lee.
Can you look up a little bit more? Raise your eyes up a little bit. There you go. So now, look straight up so I can look into your eyes, darling. Thank you. I need to do that. It's okay to cry, Casey.
Hey, gorgeous, how you doing?
I look like hell.
Well, you know something? You really need to keep your spirit high for all this.
I haven't been crying while I've been in here.
Well, you know
trying
something?
to read books and do other things to keep my mind off of stuff. Today, tell them I ate coleslaw.
Well, you're probably eating a lot of things you never used to eat before because when you're hungry, you'll eat.
I hated bologna. I've been eating bologna and cheese on occasion. Grits, I don't do grits at all. It's terrible.
Well, you know what? You're going to eat what's in front of you.
I want you to know, I want to take your pain away from you. So, you know, you can tell me anything.
I know that, Dad.
I miss you, sweetie.
I know that. I miss you too.
I wish I could have been a better dad and better grandpa, you know?
You've been a great dad and you've been the best grandfather. Don't for a second think otherwise.
Well, you know,
you and Mom have been the best grandparents. Kaylee's been so lucky. Kaylee is so lucky to have both of you. I can't even put into words how glad I am that she's had both of you. And that she still has both of you.
You know, it goes without saying, you know, that our house is empty without both of you there. It's empty. All the little things we took for granted, we miss them so much.
That's exactly how I feel.
All your little things and all her little things, it hurts. We're not there. Mom and I are just going through the motions, you know?